What is up, people? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we're going to jump into the memes with this report of the action on BASED PENGU, FARTCOIN, and Banker. We're going to run over those three, see if we can identify any opportunities for some juicy swing trades. Yes, sirree. Our goal is to extract maximum value out of this market, but of course none of this is financial advice. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt and do your own research. This is for entertainment purposes only. So here we are on the BASED PENGU 15-minute chart, and you see these two big blue arrows that I have drawn out here. What do those mean? Well, this goes back to my usual training that I give everyone about how to know when you should jump in and out of a project. And the point that you don't jump in is when price is peaking, like here and here, and when the stochastic is at a high point, here and here. So with BASED PENGU, what you're doing is looking for a low point to jump in. And then I'll give you a new indicator that can help you to find out when you're close to a point that it's going to break out. So looking at this example, I was considering a swing trade after this peak and a stochastic dip down below the 20 line right here. So what normally happens is you get a rise, you jump up, and you get another peak right here. So if you were to buy at this stochastic low at this price point here, and then you wanted to jump out of that trade at the peak, you would have been looking at about a 31% trade profit. Okay, that's not good enough for me to be motivated to jump in and out. Right now, I'm just accumulating, getting bits and pieces of this on every stochastic dip until the big breakout happens. Okay, so when is that going to happen? Well, that's where we use a new indicator. It's not new. I've used it all along, but I don't talk about it a lot. And that just happens to be the Bollinger Bands. See this blue line here dipping down and then coming back up, and here's the bottom of the Bollinger Bands dipping down and coming back up. And you notice one thing about these Bollinger Bands: they go wide like this, making a bubble, and then it tightens up. When the bands get tight right here in this area, that's usually when you're going to have a breakout. So you had this little move up here after the bands tightened up. And then they break out again. See, this line bubbles up, this one bubbles down, and then it gets really tight. And in this little area right here, you've got this tight point, and you broke to the bottom side. So this would have been a good idea to try to buy at this point, but there's one indicator that tells you that it is not. What is that? Position of the stochastic. So it was sitting here way too high, all right? It dipped down, came back up high. So when the stochastic is high and the bands tightened, that indicates price is going to break to the downside, which it did. Stochastic comes down. So then it cycles back up. It's tight again right here, but you are at the high point of the stochastic. What did that tell you? Price breaks to the downside. So here we go. We got this series of bands that are tightening and then blowing up. So you got a bubble here, a bubble here, a bubble here, and a bubble here. What do you notice? You notice that the bubbles are getting smaller as we go, and overall it's really tightening down. And now we're about to enter into the oversold zone. So when this stochastic gets down here, I'm going to look to get some more because there could be a possible break to the upside once we are at a stochastic low. So I'll be looking for a quick, juicy flip where I could buy somewhere around 3 zeros and a 17, 16, 15, and then look what could happen. If you just go to this previous high, that's around 3. So that would be a 100% gain, or 200%. You double your money at that point. Now, let's look at the overall and check out what it's looking like on the 1 hour. We can see our arrows up there, and we see that the Bollinger Bands are still pretty wide, kind of tightening, but not too much. And we have this bearish flip that is about to happen on the stochastic. Look at that right there. The blue line is curling over. When that crosses the orange, it should jump back down here below the 20 line. That's when you like to buy. But I'd like to see this Bollinger Band tighten down really tight. Okay, so we might have a day or two left on the 1 hour candles for this to tighten down. So let's look at the 4 hour. And the 4 hour says, oh boy, we got a nice bearish trend. We have broken this support and resistance zone right here, which says maybe we're going to look for the next lower zone. So the Bollinger Bands, they blew up. All right, you see how the bubble happens. So the bubble goes poof. It pops up, nice bubble, and now it's starting to tighten. So I'm going to wait. What in the heck am I talking about? I'm going to wait until this tightens back down like this. And when it does, that says, hey, we're going to have a breakout. If the stochastic moves to the top, it's going to break to the downside. All right. But if we cycle up and then we cycle down and these bands are real tight right here, okay, then that's the time where you could possibly get a nice juicy trade as the stochastic goes up and we break out of this band. Maybe it could get to 0.30 and a 4. We don't know, but this is how I will time that trade. Okay, so that is based Pengu. Let's look at the next one, which is based FARTCOIN. So we'll go backwards here. So we're looking at a price sitting at 3 zeros and a 44. Bollinger Bands are kind of tightening down, but where is the stochastic? Well, it's entering into the overbought zone. You don't buy there. Don't do that. Wait till it comes down here to the oversold zone. And when it does, if the Bollinger Bands tighten down and make a nice little noose here, squeezing the life out of FARTCOIN, and you're in the oversold zone, then you can expect a break to the top side. But I think that there's a chance that we might jump back down to this previous support and resistance zone, which I need to stretch this out here. You got this big volume node on the VPVR down here, and then you got the big one up here at the point of control. If we fall below the POC price, chances are we're going to get sucked down to this lower node. And then by that point, we'll look and see where we are with the positioning of the stochastic cycle. And then we'll decide whether or not we strike. And if it does go down this low, that's a price point of 3 zeros and a 26. I'm going to jump on it at that point because then we'll probably surpass this previous VPVR node. And it could be, say, a double. That could look like a nice, juicy double. Okay, let's clear that out and just go backwards. Okay, so looking at the 1 hour here, not much action here. We're in the overbought zone, so it's not time to buy, according to the 1 hour. How about the 15-minute? Well, it's declining. Price is staying stagnant here, and stochastic is going down. So I'm probably not going to be tempted to jump on this until we at least go below this point of control price of 3 zeros and a 46. So that is based FARTCOIN. Last but not least, we have the Banker project, which has recently had an article where Coinbase, I guess they are looking to a Coinbase listing, and this is looking pretty juicy. But what is going on here? We've got a stochastic that is at the in the overbought zone. We do have a clear tightening of the Bollinger Bands, which tells me that we'll probably drop down once those bands explode out. And it looks like this. You'll see mega action. This will pop up. This will pop down. And if you're already in the oversold zone, it'll ride the bottom Bollinger Band all the way to the bottom. And then you can wait for the tightening to happen again. It'll do something like this. And at that point, if the stochastic is, say, cycles down and is still down here, that's the point where I would look to buy, because then you could have a breakout up here. Now, I've been accumulating this one for quite some time, and I'll show you where. So I started buying way down here, okay? And I think even before that, let's look at the 1 day chart. Look where it comes from. Wow, that's incredible. I was buying down here at about 3 zeros and a 13 or so, and then I sold, and then I bought back. And then I sold a little bit, then I bought back at around, say, 25, and I've been accumulating ever since then. The Coinbase article comes out and it pumps all the way up to 3 zeros and a 7. at which point I would expect this to correct. Now, the stochastic is still pointing up on the 1-day chart, but you have a big wick, which says that the current momentum is going down. So then you have to back up to the 4-hour chart and see where the cycle is going. And this is kind of a bullish cross here. It's still trying to creep up. It's at the top of the candle close where the wick started, and it might meet resistance. Will it go up or down from there? Well, all you got to do is back up to the 1-hour chart. So the 1-hour cycle says we're about to enter into the oversold zone, or overbought zone. We're way up here. You don't buy up there. You wait until you get back down here below that 80 line, which tells me that since the bands are already wide, okay, you're going to probably correct back down and make it to the point of control price at 3 zeros and a 5. So I'm going to wait on that. But I got a nice little bag of about $500,000 of banker. But what you want to do is this. I've been telling people, take $5, $10, not financial advice, and practice on these trades before you lose a bunch of money buying at the wrong time. So if you take $5 and you can buy and sell on every stochastic peak and dip, take your $5, buy it down here. Stochastic goes high, sell it up here. Stochastic goes back down, buy back in. It goes up, and that was a lower high, so that's not a good point to sell. It goes down, accumulate more right here, and then it had the big burst. So after this nice mini parabolic move, that would be a good point to sell, okay? And then buy back down here, but I think I would wait until you get below the 20 line. All right, so that is what's going on with the memes today. I'm going to cover Solana memes in the next meme report, and still coming your way is going to be the AI agents report. So you definitely want to like, comment, subscribe, tick the notification bell so you don't miss the report of the AI agent projects, which are very volatile. And right now we're in an overall market correction within the bull market, and that means the market's going to present some buying opportunities. So keep watching the charts and let's start to stuff these bags once this correction gets going. And that's all I've got for now. This is Carlton, and I am out.